What an amazing night. I think I saw at least a dozen shooting stars. It's the Perseid or Leonid meteor shower. I think it was peaking yesterday or today, but just gorgeous. Wind shifting around and it is dropping. We got 9 knots of wind and we're making 5 knots, basically dead downwind.
We're the only boat out here. The sea's really flattened out from Edda coming through. It's just been so freaking pleasant. And yeah, it's good.
This will be the windward sheet.
Sailing from Cape Lookout, North Carolina to South Florida, where we can jump east to the Bahamas.
It's going to be a real mixed bag for a couple of reasons.
First of all, it's late November, and the cold fronts are starting to pack a punch.
Secondly, we've got to stay inside the Gulf Stream, which means hugging the coast somewhat.
That means the winds are going to be shiftier, the seas are bumpier, and there's a lot more traffic.
Don't really know what there is to shoot here. Anything that I record will not be descriptive enough of just how sucky it is out here. With cross seas and shifty winds and just enough light to get a peek at these lumpy seas, man. It has been one ugly night. I feel like we've been in a washing machine for 10 hours.
Coming into Winyah Bay, it's about 6:20 in the morning. Just a little bit of daylight, a lot of cloud cover keeping us in the dark. And we are never gonna be so happy to see flat water. Whoo! Feel like I did Pilates all night.
Yeah, that was just absolutely ridiculous. Bracing in ahead of a cold front. I feel really bad for the folks who are continuing on to Charleston, because they got no choice. They're gonna get hammered for another 6 hours or so. Yeah, I'd say it timed it okay, huh?
Yeah.
Let's try to modulate our speed right between like 5 and 6 knots, so we can get here before the strongest winds arrive, but after the sun's come up.
And with the tide.
And with the tide. The tide is a big deal here.
You rocked it.
Well,
Gap.
we'll see.
Glad to be here?
So glad you're here. Tired.
I put the hook on so you can back down.
We're anchored out at Winyah Bay as this front comes through. Woo, really glad not to be offshore in this one. It's been very, very gusty and rainy. We've been adding that on to some already really unpleasant conditions coming down the coast.
When we fuel up, of course we use the absorbent pads for any little fuel spills. But here's a good tip. Wet your decks down first with water so any random fuel droplets won't soak in. Now, unless we really need it, we rarely carry full fuel. Depending on additives, diesel fuel weighs about 7 pounds per gallon. So with our fuel tankage of 185 gallons, that's about 1,300 pounds of fuel. You can see the stern drop more than an inch here, adding just half tanks. That slows us down a little bit. We keep the revs low and use about 3/4 of a gallon per hour per engine. So if we go slow on one engine, we could theoretically motor about 1,400 miles. Yeah, no need for full tanks on this boat.
No wrist for the weary, they say. The wind shifted again, and now we've got an offshore breeze. It's a little strong, so it'll be a blustery start here, but it gets us in the right direction, which is south towards warmer weather. Megan's gonna make sure that we're fed.
Yeah, getting some tuna fish and hard-boiled eggs all set to go, so we don't have to do any cooking. That hat reminds me of a Fat Albert hat.
Hey, hey, hey!
So yeah, here we go. Heading out into the yonder.
We are right on the boundary of the current. You can see the difference in the watercolor. That's the outflow from the river that we just left. Compare that with the green, gray, blue of the Atlantic Ocean. And right where it's mixing, it's a little bit rougher. Definitely noticed the difference in the sea state.
So good to get that spinnaker out. Woo woo! Here we are about 25 miles off of Charleston, flying downwind, going 8-10 knots in about 13-14 knots of wind. So it's really cool out here. Wish we could go all the way to St. Augustine, but the winds are going to pick up from the east. So we are going to make it as far as St. Simon's overnight tonight and tomorrow afternoon. And just enjoying this downwind ride.
7-8, baby.
Woo woo!
People have been asking me how I've been getting the boom shots, the pole shots. This is a extendable light bulb changing pole that I bought off Amazon for $56 or $66. And then I needed a couple little adapters that they sold online for another $12 or $13. And that's how we're getting our faux drone shots. No idea if the camera can actually see me. We lost the wind after a beautiful spinnaker run this morning through the midday hours. And the wind died, but it's just gorgeous out. Got a sliver of a moon just above the horizon after sunset. We're looking forward to a mellow night and a nice cruise south. Heading for Georgia and maybe Florida. You do not want to see that bearing down on you in the middle of the night. That is for sure. All these ships, they are thankfully anchored. They're not moving around. But I'm watching my AIS like a hawk to make sure that is the case. We made some good miles south. The winds are forecast to gust into the mid-20s offshore. So we decided to put into St. Simons to watch some strong winds blow by. After getting pounded a bit the other night, we decided we didn't want to take any more lumps, at least on this stretch.
Well, 28 hours later, and we are arriving in St. Simons. I'd say overall it was a pretty good passage. We had good winds, and we're going to be at a dock so we can bike ride and walk to our heart's content.
Got me some wobbly legs. I got sea legs.
Ah, feels so good. Warmth. Warmth and stretching legs. Good combination. There's a tree coming down the river.
I tell you, this is why I do not like going up and down rivers in the dark.
That would do some damage.
There's no way you would see that. No way you would see that. Maybe with a full moon. But yeah, that's a good chunk of tree.
What are you doing?
Oh, something I've been meaning to do for a while. We are almost always starboard tide. And because the helm is over there. And we're finally port tide. And I have been meaning to paint these port lights literally for like 2 years. The paint has just been flaking off. So we're finally port tide. I'm going for it as the rain begins.
You want me to get the umbrella? Wow, look at that.
All right, the Lynx from Nantucket. I don't know what the story is, but that is a beautiful, beautiful ship. Yeah, ship, not a boat. That's a ship.
Friends with cars. Thank you, Dustin and Laura. We forgot something at the store. Carrots and caulk. What else do you need? All right, 3 days at the marina. Doesn't sound very exciting to most of you, but it really was fun to let that water flow, get the laundry done, get some nice sheets dried. What else? We saw some friends. Likes the dead cat.
What? You like the dead cat? I said CAT.
He's focused on that thing.
Got provisions.
Wow.
Can't believe I spent another $600, but managed to fit it all in the fridge and find places for it. So now we're gonna head about, 200 feet, Nick, to the anchorage where it's free. It's a little close.
We're having solar powered bread. That's too close?
That's a little close.
Sorry.
These cameras are good now, so
Oh.
you gotta stand back.
Okay.
You see my pores. So we're making chicken soup and fresh bread. I'm thinking about adding some Parmesan and herbs to the bread. What do you think?
Oh, add it all, baby. Pepperoni, artichoke hearts. Smell-o-vision.
Do you smell that? Come here. The first time I actually used the right kind of flour, bread flour, in the bread maker. And it did rise more. Oh my gosh. Oh, and I added some parsley and Parmesan, and it looks pretty perfect. What do you think?
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
Oh.
Look at that.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow. Thanks, Jane and Dave. That was an awesome gift. Naughty, naughty, naughty.
We deserve it.
We're celebrating.
What are we celebrating?
What are we celebrating? We did our podcast.
Oh, that's right. Under the Sheets with the O'Kellys.
I'm ready. Yeah. Yeah, we motored out here from the marina. It's a nice anchorage, but there's a fair amount of traffic and current. And so ocean is right around the corner, and we are going to wake up at 1 in the morning and head out there. So I'm excited.
Well, all told, I think this one's going to be about an 800-mile trip, and we are partway through.
Tomorrow is Thanksgiving in the U.S., but if you're like us, we like to practice gratitude every day of the year.
And I also like eating lots of good food all the time, too. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and an extra huge thank you, tremendous gratitude for our patrons. Thank you guys so much for helping to support this channel.
Yes, you are really making it possible, and you're inspiring us to keep sharing and to see you out there soon.
Take care, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye-bye.